sabbatical break, lot of thoughts in her mind, and said, which said, there is nothing about you. There is just nothing about you. You are back in India. You are living in a joint family. You have no friends now. You spent a decade out. What do? Knock, knock, knock. There is a club next door. They're very next to my house in Powai, a building called Glen Heights. There was a building called Prudentials running Powai Toastmasters Club. Just went there as some of the guests who have come today. Attended a meeting as a guest, became a member. My first speech. No, the pathway doesn't start there. My first speech was a contest speech in the month of November 2019. A humorous contest. I just took part, won, and people started speaking. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you come from? And that small inner voice in me said, there is something about you, Ami, very softly. And I thought, no, I don't need to end it here. Became a member, starting my icebreaker journey. Now, what is icebreaker all about? 6.5 minutes to give your life story or your journey, who you are, where you are, what do you do? 6.5 minutes. And on the top of the cake, you know what was the situation? TCS Toastmaster and Powai Toastmaster, both the clubs gathered together on that day. So we had audience of 60 people. I'm giving my icebreaker speech with a paper in my hand, absolutely preparingly, in details, getting into the depth of it. Came, I think we had DTM Mukta at that time, a very seasoned Toastmaster, and I spoke about my journey from last bencher to front mentor. Wow, standing ovation. I felt so good. You know, all those negative thoughts, then nothing started going back. Now, my icebreaker journey taught me that there is something about you that will take you back to your work, to the things you want to do, the things you want to achieve. And don't look back on. I did exactly that. That particular day, when I gave my icebreaker speech, I met someone who introduced me to TISS, Tata Institute of Social Science. I started training for SM Shetty, youth leadership and people skills. Now, imagine someone coming after a decade back to the country and getting back to work. It was difficult. This pathway made me connect to people and bring me bread and butter home in some way or the other. The second speech was reflecting and responding, speaking again. Then came the third speech. What was the third speech like? Third speech was connecting to audience. Now, I joined Toastmasters in November 2019, won a humorous contest, gave my icebreaker speech, and then what happened is, in 4 months, what happened? 2020, lockdown. I am just a member of a public speaking club. How can you do public speaking online? And those offline meetings, or I would say online meetings, became more like frontline cheatings. Now, frontline is not what you're thinking of, but frontline is where you have your face and you show yourself. At the same time, there is a lot of cheating. But I did not cheat. Initially, I did not cheat. It was my third speech, connecting to people. And I think, where I was trying to talk about myself and how can I connect to people. So I shared a story about my pneumonia survival, which was very much suited to the situation there. A very sad story. Well accepted by the audience, became the speaker of the day, and that voice raised. There is something about you, Ami. Moving ahead. The next speech. I moved to level 2. Level 2 was a complete lockdown. We have 5 levels in the first pathway, which I did. There was a speech about researching. Now, what is research? Now, I do research because I am a trainer by profession. However, researching and giving a speech is not something I've done on statistics and understanding details. And I started waking up at 5 a.m. You know, in the COVID, you had all the things to do at home, your housework, your baby, taking care, working, everything happened. And I started waking up at 5 a.m., reading Robin Sharma book or following. So I spoke about 5 a.m. club in my session, in my speech, researching and presenting. And guess what happened? Well accepted speech, one of the Toastmaster started WhatsApping me, let me meet you at 5 a.m. So this girl Neha met me at Heritage Park in Powai, 5 a.m. We are in lockdown, tying our mask, started walking together. And the first day she told me, there is something about you, Ami. I felt better. You know, that thing started getting better and better in me. Level 3. Now what happens when you move to level 3 of innovative planning pathway? Here, challenges started coming. How do you address difficult audience? Now, by the time the level 3 happened, the COVID disappeared. We were into a hybrid mode of training and meetings, and I started going back. Now, again, you know, after a long time, when you're giving